It's time for the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU, the official local sports show here in Glasgow and Barron County. And now, alongside John Butler, here is your host, James Brown.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag. James Brown and John Butler this week, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. I don't know if you people caught. I think we had a break-in. We had a breaking news break-in before we came on the air a little bit ago, where they were hunting for a suspect involved in a alleged shooting over on Cleveland Avenue near the intersection with L. Rogers Wells Boulevard. So that's over there by what used to be the Glasgow Board of Education building, which is a Farm Bureau building now. It was in that little vicinity. They've caught the suspect as of right before I came on the air, though. That roadway was still blocked off, so you couldn't get on Cleveland Avenue from the bypass, nor could you get on it past Sorensen Street over there, which is near Red Cross Elementary. Luckily, school's not in session because of spring break, so otherwise that'd have been very chaotic. I mean, it's a chaotic situation anyway. But so, if you are out and about on the road and listening to this here show, I would avoid that area at all possible. I guess we'll let you know whenever the road reopens. So there you go. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about sports, John, since we're here to talk about sports. It was a busy week of high school baseball before everybody hit the road to Florida. And so, I think Barron County, they tried to play like the week before where Glasgow played, what you said was a major league schedule. That's what Barron did this past week.
And it's still doing it.
Yeah, still doing it, yeah, because they had a game this morning as well. They played 2 yesterday in Florida and 1 this morning. I think they're off tomorrow, and then they'll be back at it on Wednesday, I think it is, or maybe Thursday. But, yeah, they started on Monday last week against Lawrence County, played Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 games Sunday, and this morning. So that's a heck of a lot of games.
It is. That's a lot of games, but in the sport of baseball, that's what you want. In terms of hitting in particular, and defense, that's where you really get into a rhythm by playing. It's hard on your pitching because a lot of teams don't have generally they struggle with pitching depth. But Barron had a good week. They're 6-6 right now, but just the quality of teams they played has just been really impressive. They lost 8-7 to Lawrence County. Lawrence County's up in the northern Kentucky area. They were coming down this direction.
Yeah.
Then they beat Logan 13-3. Logan's a traditionally good baseball team. Taylor County, they knocked them off 9-2, and Taylor is a defending 5th region champion. They've got arguably the best pitcher in the state, and he didn't pitch against Barron, and they're a top 20 team. And Barron smoked them 9-2, then beat Hazard out of the 14th region 15-5. So that was a heck of a. Just here and then down in Florida, they played Madison Central, perennial powerhouse in baseball, up from Richmond. Lexington Lafayette, another team that's won a state title in baseball, I believe. They lost to Central 11-5 and Lafayette 8-3, and then they beat Bullitt Central, which is right outside of Louisville this morning 4-3.
Yeah,
that's a lot of games against a lot of really good schools too.
Before last week, or at least maybe even after the Lawrence County game, the thing I was thinking about Barron was they were playing a good schedule, and they just seemed to be inconsistent. Like one game, their pitching would be good, defense would be good. They couldn't get any runs. The next game, they'd come back, they could put up runs, but they would give up, some runs, have a little breakdown in defense and pitching. So I was a little concerned about them headed in before that Logan County game, and I was like, they're just a team that seems to not quite be able to figure it out. Now, that's the first couple of weeks, and, you don't know a whole lot from high school baseball in the first couple of weeks. But still, sometimes you can kind of see how people are playing and that kind of thing, and you might have some concerns or things may look pretty good. But then after that Logan County game, I was like, that's a really good win because Logan County is always, if nothing else, Logan County is always a very good defensive team. It's rare that you see Logan County give up 13 runs in a game, and they're usually a scrappy, low-scoring kind of baseball team. And then to turn around, like you said, played against Taylor County 9-2, had 2 4-run innings in that game that broke that game open. And then they just exploded on Hazard. I mean, they had 9 runs in an inning. They ended up finishing the game in 5 innings. They ended up winning it 15-5. I mean, it was just an impressive run. And I think this morning, that Bullitt Central game, that's a pretty good win for them, too, because they were down and they came back and won it 4-3. And one thing coming into the season, Barron had a lot of experience pitching coming back. The question was replacing the players that they lost in the batting order. How were they going to shape up? And at least for some of these games this season, that batting order has worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, I mean, just, after 12 games, I think everybody knew that Cameron Crawford and Skylar Potter were going to be good pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their history. They've had good careers.
Yep.
And they're having good season so far. Against Taylor in the 9-2 win, they got a really good starting performance from Landon Eulis. They went five innings and got the win. And so against a quality team, even though Taylor's best pitcher didn't pitch, and by the way, the McLean kid who signed with Kentucky, I think 2 days later, beat Henry County on a no-hitter and struck out 19. Yeah,
he's all right.
but batting wise, Gavin Coffey's got off to a good start. He's hitting he's hitting 400. Got a home run, the only home run I think on the team. I think that's right. Maybe they got another one. Crawford, who's the pitcher, also is hitting 458, and Jackson Vincent's having a good year so far, 375. So, I've just been impressed with their schedule. The schedule's been good, and to be 6-6 with the schedule they played, I think that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that. We always learn more, I think, after the spring break, because then we really get into the rhythm of the season. In a lot of ways, that because of the way the baseball season is now, they start it so early. It's kind of hit and miss each year, weather-wise, how many games you get in. The teams in our area have done a really good job getting in a lot of games in these first 3 weeks. It usually doesn't work out that way. But then you get in that rhythm after the spring break, and then you really start to see, your pitching rotation and that kind of thing, how that's shaping up. So right now, you're right. They've played a tough schedule, and they're 6-6, and that'd be something, anybody would probably take at this point. But I'm curious to see, as we get into the rhythm of the season, how things go for them. Meanwhile, Glasgow, they only played 3 games last week, and they played 9 in the first 2 weeks.
They're 7-5.
Yep.
They're down in Florida as well.
That's right. They play tonight against Carroll County, so at 6:30, I think it is. They play Carroll County.
Last week they lost to Greenwood 12-6. Keaton Haynes, by the way, had a grand slam that game. For Glasgow, they lost to Hazard 5-4, and then they knocked off Cumberland County 12-1. Carter Hodges pitched that game. I think he had 14 strikeouts.
Yeah. So good outing for him there.
Right, and again, just Hodges is right now probably Glasgow's best pitcher. 4-0. He's got an ERA of about 1.68. Which is outstanding. Peyton Limley, I think you had an article, he has signed with
Berea.
He's 1-0 with a 1.4 ERA, so those are 2 good ERAs. Hudson Gum hitting 394. Haynes 325, 2 home runs, leads the team in RBIs at 14-5. So 14 RBIs. So Glasgow 7-5, Barron 6-6. Both in Florida, going to get a lot of games in against different competition, and I would say both teams are fairly similar, fairly even. I couldn't tell you, right now who's better or whatever. We'll find out. They'll play each other later on in the year. Kind of late in the year this year they play each other.
Yeah, they play those back-to-back games, right?
Right.
Next to last week of the season or something like that?
It's pretty late. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something they went to whenever Warren East came into the district. They started doing these doubleheaders, so you'll have a Monday, Tuesday doubleheader, home and away. I like that format. I kind of like the way it works because then it's not spaced out. You can't save that one pitcher every district game.
I agree.
And so you really get to see, and a lot of times it'll be a fascinating kind of setup because of the way it works. It's kind of a fascinating setup that you get to see a game maybe where each team pitches their number 1 pitcher, and then you come back the next day and you see what their number 2s are, and maybe you get a little more of the action. You get to see a little more of the hitting because number 1s usually do a pretty good job of slowing down the other team's hitting, and so you get to see, that kind of balance between good pitching and the good offense in those back-to-back games, and I think it makes the last couple of years, maybe the last 3 years, it's made the district tournament pretty interesting as well, the way it's worked out because of the seeding. We've had some upsets. We've had some really good games in district tournaments.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say in baseball, what I can tell so far is that I don't think there's a clear favorite.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Warnings is a really good pitcher, a Vincent kid.
Yeah.
And they play a good schedule. I don't think they hit real well, but they're obviously one of the better teams year in, year out in the region.
Yeah.
Allen, I think, is a little bit better than they've been in the past.
Yeah.
Allen has kind of been the 4th seed for the last so many years in baseball, and I think they're a little bit better. So I don't think there's a dominant team in the district, but I don't think there's one of those just bad teams either.
I would say coming into the season, of course, with the pitching experience coming back that both Barron and Glasgow had, they would be my favorites coming into the season just because they returned pretty much all of, with the exception of a couple of players, their top 3 or 4 pitchers. They also both lost a fair amount, at the plate, Barron more so. Warren East lost everything from last year except for the Vincent kid. I mean, they were all seniors. And like you said, Allen's kind of been the bottom feeder a little bit. But they brought back, I think, their top 2 pitchers at least from last year. They haven't been very good offensively in recent years. But I do agree, just if you match up what teams have lost versus what they bring back, I guess I would still put Allen maybe as the 4, but we just don't know. Just because Warren East. No, I don't know. Maybe Warren East.
Well, baseball is totally different because you may have a team if you just match up this team A versus team B, and team A has better players and would win a series best out of 5.
Yeah.
But may not win that one game because team B has the dominant pitcher.
Yeah, that's right.
And I do know the kid from Warren East is a pretty high level pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in a one-game scenario,
right.
he might be pretty scary.
And that's the first round of the district.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so in a way, maybe this baseball season is sort of like the basketball season was in a way, where on the boys' side, where there was a team. You definitely wanted to avoid a team, but you didn't necessarily, or you wanted to get a team, but you didn't want to. You wanted to try to stay out of that 2-3 matchup. Maybe that's how that is this year too. Whichever way it works out, if East is 4, but they got the one guy, that's not really a benefit for you if we're the 1 seed.
Not at all.
So, that could make for a pretty curious season overall, especially going back to what we were talking about when they play those double headers. It'll be curious to see what Warren East's coach decides to do in those double header games as well. Anything else that kind of stands out to you from the high school baseball season so far?
No, not really. It's like I said. With this week, a lot of teams that are playing are gone, so I haven't really got the chance to really. And tonight is the official last game of the basketball, so I kind of transition more to baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It is, isn't it? Yeah, we'll. Meanwhile, on the softball side, we'll get to the basketball here in a little bit. On the softball side, let's see. Barron County, did they have They had a good win, I thought, last week at Cumberland County, 4-3. We talked about that coming in, that Cumberland County was a team that was probably better than people expected them to be. Won that one in 8 innings. And then they lost to South Warren 11-0. No shame really in that. I don't know that South Warren's given up more than 3 runs the whole season, not in a game, the whole season. At least the last time I checked, they hadn't had a game go past 5 innings.
They have won, I think, 6-0 down in Mississippi or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Against the number 1 team in the nation or something?
McLean Hudson is hitting .875.
Good grief, man.
I mean, I think their biggest obstacle is going to be when eventually they have to play a close game.
Yeah.
Will they be in enough close games to toughen them up?
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's of course they've got like 6 Division I signees, but it's ridiculous the blowouts and so forth. I mean, it's I've never seen anything like it, and I do know there's some teams out in the state that can play with them. South Warren's the best team, but boy, it's got to be to me boring.
Mm-hmm.
When you're only playing 5 innings,
yeah,
and you're not even challenged. To me, that's just boring. but there's no way to improve that way. I don't know how you improve that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who was it? Was it McCracken County, which is like considered one of the better teams in the state, and they beat them like 20-2 or something like that?
Right.
I mean, McCracken County is in recent years been like a top 5 team year in and year out. I mean, you just beat them severely, and I mean, if you can't be challenged by one of the top 5 teams in the state, you're right. I mean, what do? They've got to find games that they can play against teams that are nationally ranked, I guess.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't either. I mean, because you're kind of locked in unless you can find one of these. Maybe this trip they're on now, we'll see. But anyway, no shame in that loss. They got them to 5 innings. That's better than a lot of teams have done.
Now, Barron's 4-3. Again, haven't played a lot of games. The third win, they got 2 wins last week. You mentioned Cumberland and the loss at Southwarn. They also beat Metcalf 7-2. Shea Bogue struck out 15 that game. Against Metcalf. So the Cumberland win was a good win. Metcalf, Southwarn, everybody loses to them. Metcalf is down. I think it's fair to say. So kind of hard to get a real strong read because I just haven't played a lot of games. Though the Cumberland County win was a good win. Do know that Shea Bogue has pitched every inning. The stats are finally up. 4-3. ERA 3.63, and you go, well, 3.63 is good. It's not great. Well, part of that 3.63 was 11 runs to Southwarn.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Southwarn will inflate any pitcher's ERA. So just keep that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Lily Elmore right now is leading the team with hitting 391. Nora Shirley 318. And Shea Bogue, the pitcher's hitting 333. So that's where we are with Barron. And like I said, they've had one district game, and that was a loss to Allen.
Yeah, it was 12-5 loss, which we'll make a slight comparison here in just a second between them and Glasgow because Glasgow played 2 games last week. They beat Metcalf 12-0, and then they lost to Allen 7-1. And actually, in that Allen County game, I think they loaded the bases in an inning, and they had base runners in scoring position in another inning and just couldn't get them across the plate. So that game, despite being 7-1, was actually a closer game than the final score would indicate, I would say.
Yeah, probably so. In the past, they may have been run ruled by ACS. So that's Glasgow's 3-5 right now. I'll shout out to 8th grader Ava Maxey. She struck out 10 in the shutout against Metcalf. Her and Kerrigan Hagan are kind of splitting the pitching duties. Kerrigan's a freshman and Maxey's an 8th grader. Kirkpatrick, I don't think she played. But
she did not play last year.
She's come out, and that's one of the reasons why they're better. She's leading hitter, 375. Chicago Green, who's shortstop, I think, 333, a couple home runs. And Hagan, the pitcher, is hitting 375. So, but both Barron and Glasgow this week are off.
That's right.
So, but neither team has played a ton of games, 7 and 8, especially compared to the baseball.
Yeah, for real.
But I think it's fair to say that Metcalf is improved from last year. We thought they would be because they were so young last year. They're still unbelievably young with a bunch of 8th graders and freshmen. Last year they were more 7th graders and 8th graders. And, Coach Murphy, he definitely knows what they're doing too.
I thought
Stephen Murphy and Daryl Murphy for Barron. The Murphys.
It's the return of the Murphys is what it is.
Glasgow, they both know what they're doing.
Yeah. It is kind of funny. This is the second time around that we've had Murphys at both locations, simultaneously. One of them we knew we were going to have. The other one was a bit of a surprise. So it's the way it goes, I guess. But, Coach Murphy, and he has Coach Sam Royce, as we talked about, out there helping him. He's coaching first base. I think Coach Royce is learning about softball.
It's different. I mean, there's similarities between baseball and softball, but there are differences in terms of the most obvious one is the pitching. That's the obvious difference.
Yeah, but anyway, it's you can tell that the improvement in the team with those guys out there, and just them getting older and better. And as you mentioned, Kayla Kirkpatrick coming out and playing. I think she hit a home run maybe in the Metcalf game. I think it was. So I mean, she's. As you said, she's helped them out. And, of course, they've got the players coming back from last year who are playing better now. And they got both pitchers back. So, I mean, it's ain't nothing like returning players, especially if they're improving, and then you see the results of it. Right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right, anything else on the high school spring sports front you can think of here?
No, I think that covers it.
All right, this Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Welcome home to local sports with James Brown and the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We are here. We are here to talk sports, and we're going to talk some sports. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about this men's national title game that is tonight. It's Michigan versus UConn. And I have to say, John, are you surprised these two teams are the ones in this national title game?
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah?
No, Michigan's been number one in the country most of the year. They've been Arizona.
Yeah, that's right.
If you just watch the tournament, they've pretty much blown out everybody.
Yeah, they've been really good.
UConn, this is their third trip to the final game in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's not surprising they beat Illinois. They were the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, absolutely not. This is Michigan, probably the best team in the country, versus UConn, who may has the best program right now in the country.
Yeah, they really do, because they have figured out how to bring in a combination of freshman transfers, and sometimes they got guys who have stuck around.
Yeah.
And then they are able to run the system that they run and plug these players in, and they don't miss a beat with them, no matter who's out there.
No, and no matter what you think of Hurley, he's an excellent college basketball coach.
Yeah, I actually like him. I mean, I don't mind my coaches being a little fiery and testy.
They run a lot of good stuff.
They do.
They got tremendous culture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they play with zero fear.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you got to beat them. They're not going to give it to you in any way. You know, I think that tonight's the game, you got both teams have some big-time injuries. You know, Michigan's best player has got a sprained MCL and ankle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he averages 18 a game. And one of UConn's best guards, what's his name? I forgot his name. Mello. Forgot his name.
Okay.
He's got a sprained foot.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just –
That's not Mullins, is it?
no, it's not Mullins.
Okay.
No, it's I think he's a senior guard or whatever. But
Okay.
He's, you know, those are two – for Michigan in particular. Now, Michigan has more depth than UConn. I think both kids are going to play.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it turns out. You know, a question with Michigan, you know what you're going – you know, UConn is going to be UConn.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare that UConn goes to the finals as being the underdog. I think they're like 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
So the pressure is on Michigan. And Michigan is coming off where a lot of people kind of talk that, you know, the Michigan-Arizona game was for the national title, even though it was in the semifinals. Yeah. So they're going to have to, put that away and be ready to go tonight, which I think they will. But I just know that Coach Hurley will use that as a motivator for UConn too.
Yeah.
You know, that everybody called that the championship game. You know, that they're a 7.5-point underdog. You know, he's going to use that big chip for that motivation part.
My question, I guess, is can UConn either slow down Michigan's offense or score with them for the full 40 minutes?
Yeah, they're going to score. Now, Michigan's really big, and they don't shoot. Michigan didn't shoot a lot of threes.
No, they just run you out the gym, basically. It's kind of an old school, just get the ball and push it up the court and get up shots, right?
Got great size, well coached, obviously. You know, the coach from Coach May from Michigan, he was the one that took was it South Florida? No, it wasn't South Florida. It was one of either the Sun Belt school or whatever. They got to the Final Four a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. That's how they got this job.
Yeah.
One of the Florida schools. Now I forgot I forgot which Florida team he brought. It wasn't the big time Florida.
Yeah.
But he definitely knows what he's doing. I think, you know, the obvious answer will be Michigan will win, but that's too easy to say. UConn will put up a great fight.
Yeah.
And would it surprise me that they would win? Absolutely not. I mean, That'd be 3 and 4 years. That would be surprising.
Yeah.
Any team today can win 3 and 4 years.
Well, just the fact that they
amazing.
won back-to-back was a shock, because we had hit a point where we thought that era of a program, because usually that happened because you had the same players in the program and they were great players.
Well, the guard is the one that's been there for 4 years.
Yeah.
The real good shooting guard. Well, he's not a guard. He's small forward, about 6'9", and he's been there for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And last year they didn't make the Final Four, but they were eliminated by the team that won it, Florida.
Yeah, by 2, I think. They were beat by 2, right?
It was close.
Yeah, because, I mean, they entered that tournament as an 8 seed, and then they ended up losing to Florida. I think it was 75-73, something like that. And, that was – if you look at it ironically, if you look at it, that 2 points that they lost by there maybe got made up for them if you're looking at karma in the way they won the Duke game.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Because it was a case where last year maybe people thought they were going to end up upsetting Florida, and it looked like they were most of that game. And then they turn around this year and win a game that they had no business winning the way they did. So there you go. They're back because something went their way. It's like you say, sometimes – the ball just has to bounce in your direction. That's how you get there, right?
That's right. I mean, and it should be a really good game. I don't have any, as I mentioned, I think Michigan just has more players overall. Yeah. But UConn is the freshman guard Mullins is. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got the right mojo going right now. Yeah. And they will probably play. I think the amazing thing about Coach Hurley is he's so fiery and so forth, but he's more fiery toward the referees than he is to his players.
Yeah.
He seems to be very supportive of his players.
Yeah.
And his players never play tight.
No. That is that's an impressive thing, that you can bring these people in and you can coach the way he does, right, and yet they feel like they have the freedom to play the game. And a lot of times I think that's the case. If you see a coach who's a good coach and they do well, sometimes what happens is, and I think I kind of lump maybe a Bill Self into this category. His teams seem to play tight in the big games, like fearfully.
Yes. Yeah, the UConn player I'm talking about has been there for 4 years. Is that good player is Alex Carabin.
Yeah, okay.
Carabin, yeah, he's 6'9". He's got an opportunity to win 3 titles.
Yeah. And
I think I know he started 3 of the 4 years, but he's been a contributor every year.
Yeah.
And so they've got experience. They got the big kid inside. UConn does. Mm-hmm. Michigan just has more players.
Yeah,
I mean that's just what they have. They have more players than UConn, and they've been extremely good all year. Michigan, mm-hmm. And it looks like to me, Michigan. If Michigan wins, then they have kind of proven to be the best team all year.
Yeah.
If UConn wins, I mean UConn was preseason number 1, I believe.
Right.
But it kind of looks like to me UConn's gotten hot at the end of the year, where Michigan's just been dominant all year.
Yeah, I do think it's a pretty interesting matchup too, in that even though UConn kind of has a program experience of being here, and Michigan does not. If you think about these recent years of Michigan, this year is like the culmination. They've not really been here for a little while.
That's very, very true. Now Hurley has for UConn and Carabin has.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other players have not. Mullins obviously is not. He's a freshman.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's a pretty interesting matchup. So who are you definitely picking? Who do you think is going to win this game?
Michigan's going to win.
You do?
I do. If I was going to bet, you're going to give me 7.5 points, I'd take UConn 7.5.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't see Michigan blowing them out.
What did you think about the 2 semifinal games? I mean, because Michigan pretty much dominated Arizona from start to finish. Yeah.
I think both games were. UConn led Illinois the whole game. That game never felt like it was close to me.
Yeah, every time Illinois, I think they got within 4 at one point, and then they went on a 10-0 run,
right,
and they kind of iced it.
And Arizona was never in the game.
No, they weren't.
Never in the game, never made a run against Michigan. Just total domination. So, all in all, from just a basketball viewing perspective, kind of a dud.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's how the tournament's been in recent years. We haven't really had I guess if you go back to the semifinal game last year that Duke ended up losing, it was kind of like their loss to UConn.
The last game of the year, Florida and Houston was a great game.
Yeah,
Florida
that's right.
was behind with them about 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, the championship game was great. I guess maybe that Final Four last year was a pretty good overall Final Four. This year, it's been more maybe like the year before. Maybe that's what I was thinking of, where the team that seems to be the better team gets a lead, has a lead the whole game. The game may wind up being 7 or 8 points, but really the team that won basically led the whole time by somewhere around 8 to 10 points.
Right.
And, it was never really like a back and forth kind of game. There weren't a whole bunch of lead changes. We had a bunch of those the tournament 2 years ago. That's what I was trying to think of, that UConn ended up winning. But, UConn dominated throughout that entire tournament, as I recall off the top of my head. So, it was kind of like a foregone conclusion the way they played throughout that entire tournament a couple of years ago. So maybe this one's been a little bit like that. We haven't had a whole bunch of back and forth games. We've had
the 2 biggest moments of this tournament was the Mullen shot to come back and upset Duke.
Yeah.
And the first round Kentucky win that probably is only remembered by Kentucky fans against Santa Clara, because I don't think anybody else, even in Kentucky, the Kentucky fans really were real thrilled with that team anyway.
Yeah. I think do you think this offseason's a bit of a challenge here for Mark Pope?
Yes.
You think?
I think it's a big challenge.
Yeah, he
new athletic director coming in.
Yeah, every time you get a new athletic director, they want to put their stamp on the programs, don't they?
Yeah. So, I think it's a big year for him.
All right. This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Welcome home to Local Sports with James Brown and the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. James Brown, John Butler here. The Women's National Championship wrapped up Sunday afternoon, and let me just say, I was absolutely surprised that UCLA beat South Carolina by, 28? Is that what it was, 26?
Yes.
I mean, they manhandled them, and that really surprised me. And I had to kind of wonder if South Carolina wasn't kind of coming down from the high of upsetting UConn in the semifinals. I say upsetting because UConn was undefeated and looked like they were cruising toward a national title.
I thought it was the worst Final Four that I've watched in years, and I thought it was the worst overall women's tournament that I can remember in a long time.
Is it just because of the competitiveness of the tournament? It seemed like the best teams were just way better than everybody else.
It was the margin of victories, but it's also how bad offensively teams were. Mm-hmm. And I think Gino said it right, not the last incident with Don Staley, but said it right 2 weeks ago at the double regional. They don't have 4 regions, they have 2.
Yeah.
So there's 8 teams going to each spot. And he made the comment before it all started that he thought it was bad. He'd already watched one first round in which good offensive teams were shot. The combined amount of threes made on that on the first Sweet 16 was like 22%. People couldn't score, and he was just talking about the setup. You get 30 minutes to shoot practice. Your practice time is 30 minutes. Sometimes your practice time may be at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
they're using brand new balls that are pumped so high, they bounce over your head. And when I watched the Final Four and just started watching the games in the Final Four, good guards couldn't dribble. They would try to go up for a layup and they was losing the ball in their hand. Yeah. So I think he was absolutely right. Anybody that's ever played basketball, you don't want to play with a new basketball.
No, there's slick feeling. You can't really. You
don't want to play with an overinflated one either.
Oh no.
It's the worst thing. If you can't shoot, your team can't shoot, then that's kind of what you want because it evens the playing field a little bit. But
real quick, as an analogy, there is a reason kickers work over the ball before they kick.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I just thought the level of play that the Texas UCLA game was atrocious to watch. And I give the coach at UCLA credit, Coach Klaus. She talked about it. They interviewed her at the end of the third quarter, and they were actually ahead. They were ahead 6. And she apologized. She said on national TV, she said, "I'm sorry." She said, "This is terrible." She said, "The game is so physical." Said we've made 19 turnovers. Neither team can score. She said it's just so physical. I thought the same thing in the UConn, South Carolina game.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's a combination of all those things I said in the officiating, where the game has gotten so physical that good offensive teams can't even make shots anymore. They couldn't even make open shots.
Yeah.
And it was a long, long way from 2 years ago with Caitlin Clark, when the ratings went out the roof because of how beautiful it was to watch.
Yeah.
And now it's just, partly it's officiating. You don't want to call a ton, but I just don't think in a women's game it benefits the defensive team, but it's beneficial when there's no, Gino and all the crap that he calls was right at the end of the third quarter when his team had 6 fouls and South Carolina, the team that was the most aggressive, had none. And it's like, it is frustrating to watch basketball when the ball doesn't go in the basket, and it's so physical you can't. It was just not. It's not very good to watch. That was just my opinion. And UCLA won, and they were dominant the last game, but South Carolina only scoring 38 points. I mean, UConn, who hadn't been under, I think, 75 all year, can only put up 44 points.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be more reasons than just good defense.
Here was an interesting thing. So I did not know about the Gino Auriemma, Dawn Staley dust up about the handshake business.
Yeah.
But until yesterday evening, I think it was, I went back and was like, what was that all about?
Right.
From Friday night, because
Right.
I didn't know what it was about. What I thought his complaint was going to be was the way the game was being called, not necessarily because of the foul differential between his team and South Carolina, but I was like, man, they are just being allowed to just beat each other senseless. And the thing is, that benefited South Carolina because that's kind of how they play anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
If you let them rough you up, that's to
the
their
whole
benefit.
tournament was called that way, especially from the Sweet 16 on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it was, and that's why the offense was just bad.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how good you are offensively if you can't actually get separation from the defender because they're able to hold on to you.
It's harder in women's basketball.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just harder to do that, and I didn't enjoy it. I think a lot of people probably didn't either. Of course, UCLA was happy that they won, but the coach at UCLA wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's happy that eventually she won it, but she was clearly frustrated because they have a dominant player on the inside, but they also like a lot of player movement. And, they share the ball, and they're normally really kind of nice to watch, kind of like UConn. Part of the problem with UConn too, though, is UConn went months without playing a close game too.
Yeah.
And I think part of the Gino situation, he was frustrated too with getting behind and offensively such an ugly game and so forth. So I think the situation with Dawn Staley at the start kind of put him in a bad mood, and then it really deteriorated. He was mad that he didn't shake her hand at the start of the game, and people are going, well, she did shake. Well, she shook her hand. She shook his hand when they both came out on the floor about 2 or 3 minutes before.
Yeah.
But what they do is when they announce the starting lineups, the last thing they do is they announce the coaches, and the coaches go to half court and shake their hands, and she didn't do that, and that set him off.
Yeah.
Though he overreacted way too much.
Yeah, I thought
over the top.
It was kind of like one of those situations where I'm mad about all this stuff and I'm taking it out on her because of a thing that is a tradition, but is kind of like
right. It was
not the reason you're mad.
He
really
apologized the next day.
Yeah. Now he didn't apologize that night. He just he kind of piled on Friday night.
The next day he did, and he issued an apology and so forth. But that kind of took away from that South Carolina win. But,
right.
And the other thing, and I've said this the last couple of years, I really said it when Caitlin Clark got to the Final Four, and I still believe it. They do not do the women's game any justice at all in terms of the format. Their leadership has got to do a better job with this. Now, I know TV dictates a lot of this, But they play their final game going to the Final Four on Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Monday, Tuesday? I think it's Sunday, Monday.
Sunday,
Monday. And then their Final Four starts on Friday.
Yeah.
Friday night.
Yeah.
So that's the men. Just think about the men. They're Saturday, Sunday, then their Final Four. So they got either 7 days or 6 days off.
Yeah.
When you go Sunday, Monday, then Friday at a different location,
Mm-hmm.
that's 4 days, 5 days,
Yeah.
with very little preparation, Friday night, and then come back less than 48 hours later and play Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And I think that contributes to the offensive problems as well. I mean,
Yeah.
your legs are gone, you're mentally and emotionally fatigued. They'd be 100% better if the semifinals was on Sunday, which there's nothing else going on.
Yeah.
I mean, sports-wise, and then the finals Tuesday after the men. That
Yeah.
would make sense, but I don't know sometimes what they do in the NCAA, the group that runs the women's tournament. The
Well,
men's
first of all,
program-
they've got 4 regions at 2 locations.
That's
in
right.
essence, and that's what REM is
He's-
talking about to start
he's
with. Is the
100%
front end
right.
of that being that you can't. There's not enough prep time. They don't get a spotlight of having their own locations. In terms of having that. This region is here. And,
everything's out west.
yeah.
There's nothing in the middle of America or Eastern or whatever.
Which is crazy because right now, if you just look at women's basketball, it's as a regional diversity of your best teams, they are all over the country.
right.
And wherever they would be played,
Well,
they would.
primarily it's in the mid to east. The UCLA is the exception now.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true.
Of course, and USC when they.
Yeah.
Okay, but generally it's.
Yeah, you're right. It really is. Well, the game shouldn't be played out west. Period. I don't think.
Well, not all of the games.
Maybe none of them.
So, but when you send
They should all be played in Indianapolis
both
every year,
regions,
maybe.
And of course, one region was in Texas.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was a pretty ugly tournament.
It was very ugly.
And it was a chalky tournament. And then the semifinals, both games were not
Bad.
great,
No,
and
they were
then the
bad
final
offense.
was not
That's
great.
correct.
All right, this is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Welcome home to Local Sports with James Brown and the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag. James Brown, John Butler on our way out here, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. Real quick, a lot of coach openings in the 4th region at the moment, or just in this general area, but specifically in the 4th region, John.
In basketball.
In basketball, yes.
Not uncommon.
No.
It's a tough job.
Yeah.
Got to deal with a lot of things, and so it's not uncommon. Metcalf has both the boys and girls coaches out.
Yeah. Yeah, Heidi Coleman, of course, hers makes sense. She took a college assistant job, so there's that. But, yeah, and then we have, South Warren girls, Blaine Embry, he's not going to be there
I think
anymore.
that's right, and Greenwood.
Yep, Greenwood girls. That's 2 in the 14th district, of course, so
Right.
that's kind of interesting.
Todd Central.
Todd
girls.
Central, yep.
Taylor County and girls, that's the high-profile one.
Yeah, I imagine you I understand you put in your resume for that one?
Boy, that's a vicious room. I did not.
No. You probably get asked that every year. How many times are you going to come back?
Back-to-back 5th region titles with with everybody back again.
Yeah. You would think that'd be a coveted job.
You would think. But, it's never know till you're inside. But,
Yeah.
Arguably the best player in the state coming back, Kennedy Diener. They made it to the quarterfinals and then the semifinals this year. Yeah, I mean, it's strange to have your third coach in 3 years.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then what else? We've got there was another one, too.
Franklin Simpson boys.
Franklin, that's right. D's out after 12 or 13 years.
14 years.
14 years as a
14
head coach
years at
there.
Franklin Simpson, yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's I think he stepped away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think. I thought there was somebody else in Edmondson County Girls is open.
Oh, right. Yes. That might be a pretty good job, too, in the 3rd region.
Right.
They're usually pretty competitive.
Yes, they are. In a region that's doesn't have a lot of great teams.
No. I mean, at the top end, you maybe have the Owensboro Catholic, Davies County.
That's correct. That region has been fairly down the last so many years.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great to win that region.
No, it's it's pretty balanced region, I guess. When you get right down
boys, we've already mentioned them.
Yeah, and don't know what's going to happen there. They did get their football coach. He's been an assistant, and I can't think of his name. He was doing the defense, I think, the last couple of years with Trevent Hayes over there. So we'll catch up with him and talk to him and see what he thinks about taking that job. As maybe when spring break's over. Maybe he's in Florida, maybe he's not. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so there's that job. And then, it'll be interesting next year on the girls basketball side, not with just coaching changes, but I mean we've got a pretty good junior class of girls here in the 4th region, so it's going to be pretty interesting as far as the individual talents that'll be coming back.
Absolutely.
All right, well that's all I got this week, John. You got anything else?
Nope. I hope everybody down in Destin's having a good time.
Yeah, me too. Enjoy the sand. This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be back next week.
You've been listening to the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU. Be sure to join James and John again next Monday at 4 for another edition of the Brown Sports Bag.